All right, let's talk about something that so many of us have gone through. You invest your time, your money, and your hopes into laser hair removal, only to be left wondering why it didn't work. If that's you, trust me, you are not alone. It's super frustrating, but the good news, the reasons it might be failing are actually pretty easy to fix once you know what to look for. So if you're looking in the mirror asking, why is this stubborn hair still here? You're in the right place. In this explainer, we are going to break down the 7 most common mistakes that could be sabotaging your journey to that smooth, hair-free skin you've been dreaming of. Okay, let's dive right in. Now, believe it or not, the first few mistakes can happen way before that laser even gets turned on. Seriously. The prep work you do is every bit as important as the treatment itself. First things first, not all laser is actually the same. It's a huge mistake to think they are. Older technologies like IPL, for example, use this really broad spectrum of light. The problem is, for skin with more melanin, which includes many Asian skin types, the IPL machine gets confused. It can't easily tell the difference between the dark pigment in your hair and the pigment in your skin. That means a higher risk of burns, and honestly, it's just not as effective. But modern tech like SHR or super hair removal is a total game changer. It heats the follicles gradually, which makes it virtually painless. And the most important part, it's safe for all skin types, from the palest to the darkest. It's kind of wild how many ways you can accidentally mess things up before you even walk out the door for your appointment. Okay, so think of the laser like a heat-seeking missile. It needs a target, right? That target is the pigment in your hair follicle. If you wax or pluck beforehand, you're literally pulling the target out. The laser has nothing to aim at, so the session is basically a waste. Same thing with tanning. Getting a tan is like throwing up a bunch of confusing signals for the laser. It raises the risk of burns. And using strong skincare products or shaving the wrong way, that just irritates the skin, making it too sensitive for a safe and effective treatment. Each one of these steps is absolutely crucial. So, let's say you've totally nailed the prep work. Awesome. But the journey isn't over. Now we've got to look at the mistakes people make during the course of their treatments. This part is all about being consistent, being patient, and really understanding what's going on with your body. This one is huge. You cannot ignore your hair's natural growth cycle. See, your hair grows in 3 different phases, but the laser only works its magic during one of them, the anagen phase, or the active growth phase. Here's the catch. At any given time, only about 20 to 30% of your hair is actually in that phase. This is exactly why you can't just have one session and call it a day. It's impossible. You need a series of consistent appointments to make sure you catch every single hair when it's in that perfect growth window. And that brings us to this key number. To get that amazing 85 to 95% permanent reduction, most people are going to need somewhere between 8 and 12 sessions. Why so many? Well, it goes right back to what we just talked about, catching every single hair in its growth phase. If you start skipping appointments or spreading them too far apart, you're guaranteed to miss some of those cycles, and that can set your progress way back. All right, let's have a moment of real talk. It's so important to manage your expectations. Notice the term the FDA approves isn't permanent hair removal, it's permanent hair reduction. That's a really key difference. A successful treatment plan is going to get you up to a 95% permanent reduction in hair, but it's not going to be 100%. And that's because life happens. Hormonal changes, maybe from pregnancy or conditions like PCOS, can actually trigger new hair to grow later on. So think of it as a life-changing reduction, not a total wipeout forever. We are so close to the finish line. The last few mistakes happen after your session is over, or they happen when you're choosing who's going to do the treatment in the first place. You don't want to get this far just to stumble at the final hurdle. Aftercare is just not optional. Your skin has been through a process. It's sensitive. You gotta be gentle with it. That means no hot showers, no saunas, no anything that adds a lot of heat for at least a day or 2. Keep the area moisturized with a really simple, fragrance-free lotion. And this is the big one. Especially in a sunny, humid place like Singapore, you have to use a good, broad-spectrum sunscreen. Sun exposure on that freshly treated skin is just asking for hyperpigmentation. And the final mistake we need to talk about, choosing an at-home IPL device instead of going to a professional. I know, they look so convenient and affordable, but the truth is, they are way, way less powerful.
They often just can't get you that permanent reduction, and there's a much higher risk of you using it incorrectly and ending up with burns or pigmentation. A professional treatment uses medical-grade lasers, and you have a trained expert who customizes the settings for your exact skin and hair type. That means it's safer, and it's just going to work so much better.
So, after all that, how do you actually avoid these traps? Well, it really all comes down to finding a provider that has the right technology and the right expertise. To show you what that looks like in the real world, let's use Wellaholic as an example of how a professional service tackles every single one of these common mistakes. Okay, just look at the comparison here. The data really makes it obvious why SHR technology is the way to go. The pain level is super low, it's safe for all skin types, including darker tones, which is a huge deal. You typically need fewer sessions than with IPL, and it's amazing at getting rid of those horrible ingrown hairs, which other methods can actually make worse. And, you don't have to just take my word for it. This is a real review from a customer named Sarah. She was just tired of painful temporary fixes like waxing. And this is what it's all about, right? Finding something that's comfortable and actually gives you lasting results. A truly professional solution also has to be practical. For example, Wellaholic's unlimited plans take away that stress of shot counting or paying more for different body parts. That makes it so much easier to stay consistent with your sessions. And they address that hormonal issue we talked about. Once you finish your package, they offer a lifetime maintenance plan at a big discount. So long-term smooth skin becomes way more affordable. So I want to leave you with this question. Just think about your current hair removal routine. What is it really costing you? Is it the time you spend shaving every single day? Is it the pain you go through with waxing? Or what about the cost to your confidence when you're dealing with stubble or irritation? When you avoid these common mistakes and choose the right professional path, you get back so much more than just smooth skin. Thanks for watching The Explainer.